I mean, I guess I was just also thinking, I think I could fall in love with this guy, and this is a very weird way to do that because I'm spending all my time with him inside a monkey. What would, how does one get out of this situation and sort of be yourself as fun as you are? The monkey's definitely more fun than me. The monkey's more outspoken than me. The monkey has all the confidence in the world to try and seduce this guy, and yet it's a stupid looking furry thing with a blank face. So like it just felt like the bare bones of a love story very quickly.
So, oh, she's lovely. She is. Oh, thank you. I saw you in the queue. I saw you in the queue and all.
Nina Conti is an acclaimed comedian, actress, and ventriloquist. She has appeared in Family Tree with Chris O'Dowd, directed by Christopher Guest, who is an executive producer on her fantastic directorial debut, which I caught a few weeks ago and enjoyed really so much. Nina, welcome to Underexposed.
Hello, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming to see the film.
Yeah, I loved it. It was such a surprise. I had absolutely no idea what to expect and haven't stopped thinking about it since and
Oh,
telling people
good.
about it. So I hope to spread the word. I've
Completely,
never
yeah, that's great.
I've never quite seen a movie like this and in all the best ways. And it's like so hard to see original movies these days. For those who haven't seen Sunlight, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit of a brief synopsis.
The basic premise is a love story set in New Mexico, a road trip. A love story between a man and a woman who doesn't want to come out of a monkey suit. Together, they're running away. This DJ who's down on his life, and and the monkey are running away from things together. But it's kind of it's there's something dysfunctional at its core, but I think so relatable to people who have trouble expressing their best self through themselves. And so I guess that's the thing that maybe people feel connected with. I don't know. It the whole thing is born of a real relationship
Hmm.
as well. A relationship that became real in the making of it. But you know, that monkey puppet, which I've spent my whole life talking to, really did take a shine to Roy.
I understand. I heard that it was born in like hour 35 of a 50-hour improv that you guys were doing. And I wonder if you could take us back to that moment as well as you can remember it and maybe tell us if you felt like what the intuition was there. What was the spark there initially?
Well, this thing called the improvathon is 50 hours no sleep. You're meant to wake up your lizard brain and get to some really earthy improv. Um, I I wanted to test myself by doing it because I've become very comfortable with my puppets. And I thought I should really do some characters myself. But then at the last minute, I sort of cheated and I went as Monkey, which is my natural sort of hiding place. I just had this full-size monkey made by the creatures department of Star Wars. Anyway, I ended up doing this thing in a monkey suit after no sleep, you know, climbing into that bloody thing. But Chanel and I got thrown on stage together around about hour 35, as you say, which was the morning. And there were some children came because I don't know, they sort of tried to freshen up the actors by putting them under pressure of entertaining kids around that point. Anyway, it's sink or swim. Thankfully, we swam. And I remember liking it so much, the combination, that immediately after that 50 hours was done, we were having a drink. And I said, "Do you want to do some gigs as Monkey and Roy?" And Chanel was free and willing and able, so we started doing gigs as Monkey and Roy. And it was really, really fun. I felt very liberated in this monkey. I was crowd surfing and all kinds of stuff, and had loads of audience interaction. And just sort of crazy behavior, but it was really fun. They were the kind of gigs that you went to thinking, I really don't know what's going to happen tonight, but I'm up for whatever, wherever it goes.
It's so interesting chemistry like that. It's so impossible to really analyze, but I wonder at what point in that pairing did you sort of think this is something I want to invest in, like a feature project? When did that idea take root?
I think I was at the point in my career where I wanted to do a movie, a feature film. Anyway, I just didn't know what it was going to be. But I'd done a feature documentary and I'd done a lot of live shows, and was kind of interested in doing one of each thing. I thought, well, I'll do a book, I'll do a play, I'll do a feature film. I want to make sure I've done one of everything before I die. And feature film was high on the list. And so Shanoa, the way Shanoa could improvise was truly beautiful. It was very true to life. You didn't feel like you were watching a performance. Um, and he ran with everything with a great deal of reality, even extreme situations. He treated them with a very honest approach. And I just remember thinking what a fantastic actor he was. And I just I mean, I guess I was just also thinking, I think I could fall in love with this guy, and this is a very weird way to do that because I'm spending all my time with him inside a monkey. What would how does one get out of this situation and sort of be yourself as fun as you are? The monkey's definitely more fun than me. The monkey's more outspoken than me. The monkey has all the confidence in the world to try and seduce this guy, and yet it's a stupid looking furry thing with a blank face. So like it just felt like the bare bones of a love story very quickly. And somewhat like Beauty and the Beast, but not really, because the Beast is the better of the two. Everything about the whole process has been very natural. Naturally think, should we do some stage gigs? Naturally think, well, this feels like a love story, we should make this. And then what naturally the script evolved through our improv of us talking, and Shanoa writing a screenplay that was born out of our genuine interactions in the moment, putting two chairs together and pretending you're in a car. It was like playtime. It's like kids playing, really.
And then once you had that script, I know it took about 5 years for you guys to actually make the movie. I mean, it's so interesting, right?
Unbelievable.
You know it's working. You know this like thing is working. I guess you have the stage shows as samples for, but how do you convince other people to take this wild journey with you in terms of
There,
financing stuff?
there was a very depressing meeting with the producers in London where they said, we're going to need to get a director who has some fundability to do this
Hmm.
because no one's going to trust a first timer with a budget. And not only that, you're not going to be able to do it because you're going to be wearing monkey suits. They had a million reasons. And it was really depressing. And so we started looking at other directors and watched a lot of films of who might have the right sensibility. And the whole thing felt just like I just felt like crying the whole time, just thinking, yeah, but there can be a brilliant director, and I'm sure there is, but that's not what we are doing. We're making this ourselves. We will like want to make this ourselves. I want it to feel like it does in the living room. I don't want to feel like someone professional is coming in and it's all going to be, you know, out of our hands. So then there was lockdown, and then this pause was just elongated, and it was a very depressing feeling. And something happened during lockdown where I just thought, uh, we have to make this. It doesn't feel like this is going to happen this way. And so I phoned the DP in New Mexico, and he'd done a couple of test screens for us. I phoned him up and I said, I want to make this film by ourselves. I want to direct this film. I'm going to have to shave the budget way down. And who do you need to do what you do to capture this? And James probably really regrets this because he had to work so hard. He had to work so very, very hard. But he said what his minimum requirements were. And then we did a new budget based on that. And he introduced me to Keegan Carnes, who had just made a very low budget film that had J.K. Simmons rock up in it. And it was sort
Hmm.
of, well, this is definitely the guy who knows how to put a low budget film together. So he made a new budget. It was all based on James Kwan, the cameraman, how we were going to do this with a really small, really agile, very trusted crew. And then we had a budget that I could raise. And I
Hmm.
raised that budget through my theatre connections, people who believed in me from the comedy world, who thought, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a film made by Nina. Let's try it. And Chanel as well. Chanel had the same contact. So we were trusted by these people who had seen us
Hmm.
do our shows. And that's kind of how we managed to make it without anyone else. It was really nice. And it stayed our playground. Um, that's everything to me, really. And then to have
Yeah.
Final Cut as well, it just you get an undiluted combined voice of me and Chanel that way.
Were there surprises along the way in that process for you? I mean, I knew you had confidence in your vision. Obviously, it worked out, but you're in a monkey suit in the desert in a strange country, directing for the first time, and then editing, and all these things presumably were fairly new to you. I mean, maybe you've done some things like that in the past, but what was
Uh,
what was new and surprising about it for you?
um, One thing that I found kind of surprising was I realized it's fine in the car, really, but you have a scene in I had a scene in a garden center. It's not in the film, and this is why. No, two, it's only two actors. A woman had to go up to a guy who works in a garden center and say, where are the cactuses? I'm done watering shit. It was a one-liner, it was a funny line. It was like the mum character.
Hmm.
Now, where do you want them to go? Where do you want them to stand? How do you have is the guy working in the garden center there already, or does she go up to him, anyway, we're in this huge place surrounded by plants. And I was like, I can't see it. I
Yeah.
can't. This is such a simple scene. It should take 2 seconds, but I can't make these people meet each other amongst all these plants in a natural way. And that, I guess, was a sign of my inexperience. There were other things that I could just see. Everything in the van I could see. Everything, as far as whatever else there was, it was easy to see. That is where I realized I was a rookie because I don't know where anyone should stand and I don't know where the camera should go. Does anybody know? Well, why don't we try this? We'll shoot that. No, it looked bloody awful. And I don't know why it looks bloody awful. But I don't know. It was a weird one. That was a weird one. That was a surprise. And it should be
Mm.
so simple. But it didn't work. And it wasn't the actors. The actors were both very natural and believable. I don't know what the hell went wrong that day. So there were things like that. But then otherwise, everything felt really like a no-brainer. I mean,
Mhm.
things that you know what it looks like, you know what it should feel like. As an actor, you know when something feels right, and you have a very strong sense of when something's believable. And so you're just using that to say, should we go again? Or I think we got it. And that's like very simple.
Mm. You say well, when it feels right for you, but are you watching the monitor for other reasons? Were you doing a lot of playback review and things like that along the
I
way,
would
or were
have
you
done
just
a lot more of that if we'd had the budget and the days, but we didn't.
right?
So it was very much, we got time to do another one, let's do
Yeah.
another. Um, and uh, and James would stop the take if something went wrong.
Okay. That's
Um, he would say, "Can we just start again?"
yeah.
Oh God, that was a really good one. But well spotted that there was something not working. It was like something
Yeah.
technical. So that was very
Right.
and also very sort of simple again. Him and Megan, his wife, filmed. on two cameras, and Megan also had an incredible eye for something that might not look quite right. Um,
Mhm.
so they were, yeah, they were definitely the eyes of the thing.
Christopher Guest is the executive producer of this film. I want to
Yes.
know, what wisdom did he pass on to you? What was his major influence on this project for you?
He built my confidence really, I think, is everything he did. Every time I called him and said, what should I do about this, or what should I do about the driving, for example, how do we film the driving? Do we use it was very difficult budget wise and everything else, and whether we use a rig, whether we're filming from a car in front through the window or whatever. And he would say, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I just sort of wish we could just drive and film it. And he said, well, then you just do that.
Hmm.
And often he would say, well, what do you want to do? When he saw the first edit, uh, he said, okay, I've watched it, call me. And I called him waiting to hear all his notes. And he said, so where are you with it and what do you want to do with it now? And so I told him and he said, sounds good. It was really simple again. Um, and what else? Well, it was useful that he told me to use two cameras, absolutely always, because we weren't always going to do that. Um, and then the other thing, I glad I said this in recap because I'd worked with Chris before. I said, so you get everything in the wide and then you go in for the because it's improvised. We had a script, but we improvised around it often. So do you cover everything in the wide and then you go in, you get pickups, you make sure you get everything. He said, no, completely the opposite. You mustn't waste everything on the wide. That's going to be the best performance. No one wants to watch it in the wide. You go start close.
Good
Now,
advice. Good
that
advice.
was good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.